Jake,
Sir,
it's that time.
it's the most glorious time of the year. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I do have a bone to pick. I mean, and it's not like there's a governing body that's really to blame necessarily. I mean, the NCAA is pretty useless, right? It's a whole other issue. But like, we got 113 games to bet on. That's 113 D1 versus D1 games. We're not talking about D2, D3. And there's exactly one of them that starts before like dinner time. And I don't quite understand why we don't have more. I mean, it's like there's just a whole lot happening at night, and it's just going to be like I don't even know what's going to be. It's just like stuff's going to be happening. We're going to have money on like so many games. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, it's been maddening because I don't know. I don't know when it stopped, but they used to do that 26 hours or 28 hours straight of basketball, and that was the best way to open.
That was good stuff. Yeah,
it was amazing. I loved it, and the NCAA said, "Ooh, that's good. Let's ruin it," and stop doing it. So
yeah. We've got 6 games to talk about. 3 of them here on the free show, 3 more on the extended cut. And if you want to get access to all that, Dub Club is the place to be. That sign up links in the show description. Costs under $1 per day. We've got 24 A grade picks right now. We will have more in the morning of 113 games. My hunches will probably have around 40 total A grade plays. The A grade plays just are always where the money's at. Early season college basketball is usually very good to us. And so you're going to want to sign up and get access to all of those A grade plays. We're going to give you 3 on show. We're being nice. We're being generous. We're going to give you 3 of the A grade plays. You got 21 or more plus again, plus whatever more coming again. If you're with us on Dub Club, you'll have access to all of that and all sorts of information, all sorts of goodies. Otherwise, Jake, do you have anything else to say before we dive into it?
No, I'm just so excited to get started.
Well, we're starting off with a banger here, Eastern Michigan and Butler. Yeah. I feel like you chose this game because it's in your backyard. Like, are you going to this game, or are you just gonna be sitting in your couch watching all the games? Or are you like, because I mean, you could drive down, and you don't live that far from Butler. Maybe about a half an hour.
Less than that. I would love to go, but then I would miss out on. It's the same conundrum we have with the opening rounds, right? Mm-hmm. It's so much fun to go and be there for the first game, but then you miss
75% of the games. Yeah, Butler should be very okay this year. Eastern Michigan won't be. I don't really know what to say about this other than, we start off every season. I know nothing about college basketball. I just do the math, and early on, it always works really well for us because we just rely on math. We have an edge over the books. And so that's like my whole spiel for every pick for the next month. It's just, I did math and the math tells us this, and on average it works, right? Disclaimers, of course, right? If you're with us in this show, you've heard me say this, but we're talking about average games. We don't know what's going to happen in one game. We're not trying to predict exactly. Butler might win this game by 35, right? We don't know a lot. There's a lot of variance, especially early in the season. But here's the thing is, the books and us are on the same page with that variance, and that extra variance is where we can kind of find some edges. There are a lot of situations we agree with the book, so we just say, let's not play it. This is one of the ones where we have a different opinion on it. We think it's going to be a lot closer than the books think. We're going to take the 16 points with Eastern Michigan. That's an A grade pick. I don't know. That's just a lot of points for an early season game, I guess. I don't know what else to say about it, Jake. Maybe you're my college basketball guy, so I'm counting on you to carry the shows here early on.
Like, I think it's a lot of points for a Butler team that no one knows what to make of yet. They went. I think they have the most roster changes of all schools in D1 basketball. They lost pretty much everybody and repaired them with all new players. I mean, they brought in Posh Alexander, who I loved at St. John's. I think he's a great point guard. And you got Pierre Brooks from Michigan State and DJ Davis from UC Davis that are very good gets. They've got some other guys coming in. Thad Matta is a great coach. I just don't think they're going to gel quick enough yet. I mean, Posh Alexander is used to the 40 minutes of hell that Anthony Anderson ran at St. John's. Thad Matta is not that style. I mean, he's not Tony Bennett of Virginia slow, but he's not that kind of fast. So it's going to be a big adjustment here. I'm not sure Butler's got it all, plus the shooting and everything you're going to need to beat a team. Because to finish this one up at 17 or more, you're going to need to be up 20-25, like later in that game, because they're going to be pulling people out with the first home game, letting the walk-ons play in front of mom and dad and all that, because they should win this. Because Eastern Michigan was a bad team, and they had a former number one overall recruit who's in the NBA now.
Yeah.
Now they don't even have him, so they're still going to be really bad.
Yeah.
I just think there's too many ways at the end of this game that it gets backdoored, and Butler was up 20 and then wins by 15, 14, something like that. And it's an Eastern Michigan kind of game.
It's why I hate laying points, because this exact scenario that you laid out. I'm wondering if there's a little bit of value on this pick simply because of kind of what you mentioned, that people are like, Eastern Michigan was bad last year. They lost their best player. They're going to be terrible. And it's like, I don't know, maybe, but like Butler wasn't very good last year either. And like, there's a lot of turnover. I've got a player-based model. It puts all the players in there on the right schools. And so we have that information of the new guys on Butler. We don't really know that chemistry piece. That's going to be obviously a big question early on. And like I said, there's a lot of variance here. Butler might win huge. Eastern Michigan may hang in there, but they're going to have to win by, it'll actually be up a lot to feel comfortable. That doesn't mean they can't get a front door cover at the end. Weird things happen, of course, in sports. But I think that the key thing that I want to wrap up here on that you mentioned is that the pace of Butler isn't going to be fast at all. I mean, we're projecting them kind of in the mid 200s pace wise. So pretty slow. They're not really going to be getting those extra possessions. That could also give us a little bit of a boost to preventing this from being a runaway, because obviously the more possessions you have, if there's a big talent discrepancy like there is going to be here, the more likely you are to cover a big number. So probably a little bit of value here at the plus 16 A grade pick. And again, just to clarify for people, especially if you haven't been with us for a while, or it's just good to remind people, the A grade picks doesn't mean that it can't lose big or it can't win big. It just means that we're expecting on average for this to be a good value pick, but we never know when we're going to get an outlier game. So weird things can happen. So this isn't if Butler wins by 30, this is not this is a terrible pick necessarily. What we're saying is on average, we think that you don't know what one game is going to happen, but we think there's a much greater than 52.4% chance that this covers. And that's why we like it. You're grabbing all those points with Eastern Michigan. 8 o'clock Eastern, Bradley at UAB. We aren't yet to the games that we have a ton of people have their favorite schools on. Maybe we're starting to get there a little bit more so here, with maybe a little bit with Butler, UAB or whatever. I always get interested. I don't want to insult anybody's team here, right? I don't hate anyone's team, but when you're picking a game, you have to pick against somebody, right? No offense to UAB. Don't think they're probably going to be quite as good as they were last year. We've got Bradley's the better team in this game. But on the road, kind of makes it pretty close to a coin toss. Let's grab those 4.5 points, A grade pick. Another way to look at this is some plus odds in the money line would not be a bad look. We're kind of doing what we're doing in college football, which is if we think that the underdog is more likely to win than lose, we'll take the plus odds. If not, we'll take the points. I'm just coming up with rules because I need rules to go off of, because otherwise I'll drive myself crazy. But whether it's points or money line, Bradley is the look here. Jake, tell us more.
Yeah, look, I know this isn't your big name schools, and they're fighting against it. And there's no Jelly Walker this time around for UAB to grab eyes. But I still think this one's worth watching, because I think it's going to be up there for best games of the day. Both these teams are very good, very well coached teams. Look, Bradley went 25-10 last year. They return Leons and Dean. I think that should lead them, plus a few transfers. UAB's got a lot more new guys in that I'm not sure what Andy Kennedy's going to have them ready to go yet. They were a little bit leaky on defense, and Walker did a lot for him on offense, even when he wasn't scoring. He was such a threat. So I'm very interested to see what happens there. But I think
I think their pace. They played so fast last year with him, and I don't know if they're going to go quite that fast or not. I think it's a big question mark in my mind too.
Yeah, they're a very interesting team. So I'm very excited to watch this to figure out what Andy Kennedy's going to do with this team. But I just think this Bradley team is a very, very solid team. Wardle is a great coach. up and coming kind of coach. I think Bradley's one of the teams I have my eye out on them this year because I think they could jump up and surprise some people, especially if those transfer portal pieces hit and they get a little more offense than they had last year. Because defense, they had it wrapped up. They just struggled to score at times. I think they did fix that. And so I think taking Bradley plus 4.5 is a great play. I'm going to sprinkle some on the money line.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I came up with a little quality of game metric. I have no idea how good it is, really, or how to test it. It doesn't really matter. I'm just kind of messing around. And I've got this as the 5th best game of the 113 here. So, yes, it is not quite the names of the schools, but it should be a close game and some good quality basketball. There should be a bunch of close games between terrible schools. Texas State, Little Rock, probably a close game. It's not going to be good basketball to watch, right? This will at least be better quality basketball. It is a little jarring, Jake. I don't know about you, but personally seeing the number 100, number 139 there on the screen and being like, that's actually not bad because I'm kind of in the mode of college football where there's only 133 schools. So you see 100 and it's like, oh man, you're bad, right? But 100's not terrible here with 360, I think 362 schools this year. Yep. We added one, lost two. Which is weird to lose somebody, but here we are. It's so, again, as a reminder also for viewers, if you're new with us or if you need a refresher, 100 is average, and higher for offense or defense means more points. Lower means less points. So Bradley's defensive 91 says that they're better than average. Because lower means fewer points. 104 means better than average by a little bit because higher means more points. And overall, just higher is better. So that's what the left number is there. And then in parentheses, you have the rank of the team across all college basketball. And I've talked about it with Cousin Jared with college football before, kind of doing also like a rank with only like the Power 5 conferences or only whatever, because sometimes it kind of helps the context. In college basketball, though, you kind of don't necessarily need that because you kind of just know, obviously, right, 68 teams make the tournament. Obviously not the top 68 to be an at-large. You probably need to be a little bit higher than that because the auto bids, right? So, yeah. So Bradley here at 100, though, there's a lot of teams that start off in this ballpark that could end up making a run for the conference title and obviously getting in that way. Or, there's been a lot of teams like this that will start off like this and end up going 25-5 and end up with an at-large sneaking in as a 12 seed or something, right? So that's not saying we're not saying we think Bradley does it necessarily, but it wouldn't be crazy to start off at this spot and do it. Like you said, they definitely have the defense there, and the model thinks the best unit on the court is going to be their defense.
Yeah. And I mean, this Missouri Valley Conference that they play in is one of my favorite mid-major conferences to watch. It's just tons of good basketball, especially since they just added, I think last year, Murray State and Belmont. So going on with Drake.
Yeah, they've rated all the old OVC teams, that's for sure.
Yeah. So it's a very, very good conference.
The OVC used to be sneaky fun, and now it's just it's terrible. It's like Conference USA in football, right? It used to be kind of sneaky fun, and now it's just sad. St. Thomas in California, one last game here, a late one, 9 p.m. Eastern for you on the free show. And again, if you want the other 3 games that we've got for you here after the music, make sure you're with us on Dub Club. At sign up link in the show description. It costs under $1 per day. St. Thomas was a lot of fun to back last year. We backed them a ton. Last year, they were mostly good to us, pulled off a lot of upsets. I mean, they're just a wild team because they have no defense. And you can see that on the screen. The worst unit on the court will be their defense. It's not the worst in the country because there are teams worse than them that are just terrible. Like St. Thomas isn't that bad of a basketball team. But they're not good on defense. Play no defense whatsoever. Pace-wise, if I remember correctly, they play pretty fast. Let's see. Oh no, they're actually pretty slow, unfortunately. So pretty slow. But no defense that makes up for that, at least with regards to points. California, just nothing special about them. Just a ho-hum team. Obviously, are in a Power 5 conference, but that doesn't really get you necessarily a ton in college basketball. These two teams are pretty similar. Cal's the home team. They should be favored by a little bit, but not by nearly as much as they are. St. Thomas was so good to us last year. We're going to see if they can continue to do that again here. We're going to take 10 points with them, A grade pick. Some of these Power 5 schools, sometimes they struggle early on in the season. They get some wins, but they may not blow teams out. It's a lot of points here. Just St. Thomas just to hang around. Their defense won't keep them in it, but their offense hopefully can. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I think 10 points is way too much here. I'm not a huge fan of Madsen. He's trying to build this California team up to the transfer portal, but I think he's taking chances on the wrong guys. I mean, Askew worked, but uh, if he's got to stay healthy, then Fardwaza, I'm
That
not a
was what
big guy.
killed him last year. He just couldn't seem to stay healthy.
Yeah. And then you've got Fardwaza Meek that transferred back. I forget which California school he started at. Then went to Texas Tech. Never got to play there because he couldn't get healthy. So he's taking a chance on him here. That's really their only big guy of value. They've got a freshman that's be stepping up when he's not playing. But I just don't think he's making the right choices there. I mean, they had it's got to be historically bad start, losing their first 12 games last week. And I mean, that included a Butler team that was Eastern Washington, that California scored 48 total points there. Texas State, I mean, we just mentioned how they are, and that was a game they lost. And then just Southern, not Southern something, just Southern, they lost to.
I remember that last year too. We was joking like, were they going to actually win a game? We were like, they probably will because there's enough chances. Sure enough, they did get off the schneid there. But yeah, it was the fact that we were even questioning that at any point is bizarre. Like that shouldn't have ever been a question for a Pac-12 school, given all the supposedly easy games that they're going to get.
Yeah, it was just wild to watch, and I don't think we're going to see that again. I mean, that was once and all forever, and there's everything that went wrong. But St. Thomas isn't a terrible team. They just really don't like defense, but they play slow enough on offense and they shoot well enough that it kind of makes up for that. So it's good with the pace. It's going to be very hard for California because I just don't think they're that good to pull away by enough to win this by double digits. I don't think anywhere California should be favored double digits on anybody. I mean, St. Thomas brings back most of their team, including Parker Borgelund and Ben Now, who could shoot the lights out of it. I just don't think Cal's got it to outdo this team by double digits.
All right, and that would do it for our free show. There's your recap of your 3A grade picks. Taking 3 dogs here to start us off, and we got 3 more coming after the little video clip here of just some helpful reminders. Jake, any parting words before we get a 60-second reprieve, and then we talk about 3 more games?
No, I mean, Dub Club is worth it, especially here at the beginning of the year when it is impossible to figure out who these teams are. You need something to kind of give you the guide rails of what to play and what not to. Sideline's perfect for it.
Yeah, and I'll preach this a lot, so you'll probably hear me say this a few times, but I mean, that's the biggest thing is early on in the season, the values there, just following the analytics and the model, taking these A-grade picks. It's been so good to us, at least in the last several years. No promises, no guarantees, don't know, but I like our chances that we're going to have similar results here, and it really does help because there's a lot of games. Nobody knows a whole lot of anything. It's hard to watch them all, and so this is just a great time to just jump on the A-grade plays and write them out, and hopefully we can repeat what we've been repeating here the last several seasons early on and build up a profit, and then we get to start doing some homework when we get to December and January trying to figure out exactly how we're zigging and zagging. But it should be a great start early on. Again, hopefully you're with us on the other side of the music. If you're with us on Dub Club, you will be, so stick around. And if not, we'll see you tomorrow.